How's it going, everybody? Jeff Slakey from iFiber One News Radio. I am here in the elections office of the Mason County Auditors at 411 North 5th Street to continue our conversations on elections. And this November, with COVID and everything, it's a little different. And again, elections manager Fina Ormond from the office. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for coming.
So we talked last time about being vote ready. And now the topic today is going to be the path of the ballot. And this is kind of a fun one, as you guys have been sending out the ballots. On the 13th is when they're going to start to be sent out. So within the next couple of days after that, you're going to have those ballots in the mail. And this year, for sure, highly encouraged. Get them filled out, get them back in quick.
Yes, we are really encouraging everybody to complete their ballot as soon as, they feel comfortable doing that by getting that into our office. Last election, we had a lot of people wait. They felt that they were supposed to wait or do it closer to election day. So that will just really slow us down on providing results. And so we want to be able to process those, quickly.
So when somebody fills out their ballots, and we'll kind of look through some of this too throughout this video, make sure you have your signatures on there and they match the signatures that are on file. Also, you want to make sure that you have your ballot in its secure inside envelope before you put it into the main envelope, before you either mail it back out with a postmark by November 3rd or in one of the 10 drop boxes.
Yes, yeah. And, we do encourage, the postage is paid, so, but the drop boxes are, very safe. We have many of them. There'll be a insert in your ballot packet that has all the locations. We will be checking those daily, so those are certainly a good place to drop your box. We encourage that because we handle those directly. I know some people think that they go through the post office, but that's not true in Washington State.
So the ballots have either been put in the mail or in the drop slot. What happens next?
Yeah, so what happens is, well, first of all, we always have two people with the ballots. So we send out two people to either pick them up from the post office or we pick them up from the drop boxes. So they come into our office and we do an initial count on those. We put them in bundles, we record where they're from, where they're coming from, and we start the initial count to get them ready for signature checking.
So at that point, do you look based off of the zip code or the zip +4, or how does that come in?
Yeah, no, they just come to our P.O. box. We don't sort them. We only sort them from where they came from. Oh, okay. So we sort of, we keep the ballots from the Allen box separate from the ballots from the Belfair box. And so that's the only kind of sorting we do initially.
So let's just then, from now, moving forward, they've been into the drop box, and we're going to pull them out of those secure drop boxes, 10 across the county. So then when they come out of the drop box, then what happens?
So out of the ballot boxes, when we're transporting them, we have ballot bags, and they are also secured. They are locked and sealed with a unique seal, and we also have seal logs in there. There's carbon copies, so there's lots of security things in place for those.
So then eventually it'll come here to the new elections office, and many representatives, over the years, many representatives will be here to kind of oversee then the next process where they are opened up and the signatures are being checked, or what's the next step here?
Okay, so the next step is signature checking, and we have extra help, and regular permanent staff, and everybody is trained by the Washington State Patrol in the fraud division for learning how to match signatures, how to tell if a signature belongs to the person and the signature on the envelope is compared to the signature on file. Okay. And that signature either comes from somebody's voter registration file or their driver's license. So that's how people register online. So we pulled it from that. Those are compared online, and compared to our system, compared into our system. And then if we have a question about a signature or a voter neglects to sign it, we do what we call challenge the ballot. And so when we challenge it, we we have a little question about this, and we send the voter a letter, and that a letter gives them the opportunity to, sign a piece of paper that we send them to. That becomes the new ballot declaration. It gets their ballot so we can count their ballot. And we really want to count people's ballot. I always say we're in the business of counting ballots, not in the business of not counting ballots. Sure. So, and those come in. And so if you do get a letter from us, sometimes people kind of have a little bit of a panic. And so, we try to make the instructions as clear as possible, but really all you need to do is sign the letter and then send it back to us, and that's what will make it so we can count your ballot.
The signatures are on one of the first things that people see. After that, you'll open it up, and when you open up those ballots, that's a whole nother layer of potential questions where the ballots markings are and things like that.
Yeah, so when the ballots are brought to the table, once they've cleared signature checking, we bring them to the table so that we can, the state of Washington requires us to do a manual inspection on all the ballots. So the first thing is that we need to remove the ballots and the security sleeves from the outer envelopes. And that is done in a very specific way. And part of that is because the secrecy of the vote is very important and is a right. So, it's done on, what we call the table, but it's done there. And we start with the envelopes signature side down so that you can't see if, for example, a voter returns, you may have heard in the news, a naked ballot.
Yes.
So if you pull those out and the voter has neglected to use the sleeve, we won't be able to connect it to the voter because the signature side is down. Okay. So we wouldn't know, oh, look, this is Jeff Slakely's ballot, and we can see the votes. Yeah. So we would pull that out. And again, you also might have heard that you can't return a naked ballot. Obviously, the signature sleeve is there for secrecy, or the secrecy sleeve, but again, we would never reject a ballot for not having a secrecy sleeve.
Is that a county law, state law?
That is a state law.
Okay, because I do know it kind of changes from state
to
state too, some of these things.
And almost all of our rules are state rules. We don't make up things that are county specific.
Sure.
We follow them. They're state rules, and we're reviewed all the time. So.
After the inspection process, what happens next?
So, and actually we pull the ballots out, they're in the secrecy sleeves, and then the secrecy sleeves are shuffled. And that's another thing, just in case you maybe remembered all those ballots together in name order, which is, of course, very unlikely. Those are shuffled to just add another layer. And that's really where the ballot is no longer connected to the voter.
Okay.
So we've given the voter credit and we have a ballot for them. So those are shuffled, the ballots are removed, and then the inspection is done to ensure that everything that the voter wants to be counted is counted. So if the voter follows the instructions perfectly and does that exactly, crosses it out just like it says in the instructions, then that's fine. That's exactly what the computer is designed to do, the scanning system. If the voter, instead of filling in the dots, has circled all the names, even if the voter doesn't follow the instructions, our goal is to, count the ballot as the voter intends. So there is a special set of Washington state rules that we have to follow, and there's a specific guidelines for how to do that. So those ballots are pulled out and just handled so that their computer scans them properly.
And again, too, on some of the documentation when you get your ballots in, it'll show you if you do make a mistake on who you're voting for to do a line cross.
Yeah, do a line through, and then you can make another choice. And when you follow the instructions, exactly, that it goes through easily. But yeah.
And then from that point, you take the ballots and process them through the machine?
Yeah, so then we have a tabulation system. So it scans the ballots, and the computer kind of will tell us and kind of give us a list of things we need to take another look at. So, for example, if you have filled out, two bubbles because, ovals, because one of those you've crossed out, the computer will stop us and say, hey, come look at this one because you need to make a decision about how they've crossed it out. Have they crossed it out? That's so we look at those. We will look. If the computer says this ballot is blank, there's nothing on it, it will tell us hey, take another look at this. So those are there. We don't do any tabulation until 8 o'clock election night, but we do scan everything and have it ready. And that is one of the things because we've been vote by mail for so long, we will be, the states who are just now adding a lot of absentee ballots or vote by mail, they're going to be, because a lot of them can't start any of that processing until election day, and that's by their state law. We can start as soon as the ballots start coming in. So we can get all the labor-intensive signature checking, opening, inspection, scanning, so that on election night, everything we've received so far and been able to get all the way through, we can just hit results, and we can have it at 8:05. Now, other counties, they'll just have what they have from the poll sites, and then they'll start processing absentee that morning. So
you'll get the first sets of results from Mason County, a list a little bit after 8 o'clock based on all that very hard pre-work that you were mentioning. And then the final certification for the state is when?
So we do, there's a 21-day period, and that's also for people to get their cure letters in for their signatures, and then we can also, we'll be releasing results election night, and then also we will be continuing as we have ballots, so probably at least through that Friday.
Sure.
And then the Monday before Thanksgiving will be our final count, and that will just be sort of clean it up. And then we certify the election as a county the next day, and that's true for all the counties. And that's where we prepare a report that, every single ballot that comes in, we have to account for, was it counted? Does it match what we say was counted? How many voters were given credit? These things have to balance. How many ballots do we have physically here that the voters didn't sign, things like that. The canvassing board, which is the county auditor, county commissioner, and the prosecuting attorney, they're the ones who actually make the decision about those ballots at the end. And so all of those things have to balance, and we have to, account for that. And so that's all prepared, and we certify on that Tuesday.
So from the mailing out to the return, it's quite the process, and there's a great group of folks here in the elections office to make sure that ballots are counted and everything is accurate, as it's a big November election this upcoming year. Again, the 13th of October is kind of the likely date of the send out for the mail of the ballots, so within the next couple of days you should be receiving yours in Mason County, and everybody is encouraging you to get those ballots in as quickly as you can, either by mail with the postmark on November 3rd or in one of the 10 drop boxes around Mason County. Again, here in the elections office with Vina Ormond, thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
And I know this is just one of a few different videos we're going to be doing.
Yeah.